Baptist priest. You're looking at someone who completed all of his coursework for a degree from Ohio Wesleyan University in 3 years. Someone who is certain that he finished in the top 10% of his law school class at the University of Michigan. I know that I am an honorary doctor of laws and have at least one doctorate beyond that. Can anyone then tell me why I just spent 4 mortal hours conversing with a fellow by the name of Dizzy Dean? Lord, make me humble, make me grateful, make me tolerant. That is my constant prayer, though I am not here because I have been asked. No, I have been importuned not to pray with you, but rather to muse aloud about my life in baseball. And many days of that life revolved around Mr. Dean, especially when I was running the St. Louis Cardinals. Truth be told, this wasn't the first time I talked to him for that long, and it probably won't be the last. In fact, when we were both with the Cardinals, it happened more times than I care to remember. Actually, when I think about it, I do care to remember. You see, Jerome was a mighty interesting character, and better than a pretty fair country ball player. Jerome? Yes, that's what I called him. Jerome Dean. I call all of my players by their Christian names, and that included every member of my St. Louis Cardinal gas house gang of the mid-1930s. Goodness knows, that collection of ball players needed every reminder of their Christian heritage that I could possibly provide. What a collection of dissolute drinkers. They could only have been put together by yours truly, a circuit-riding preacher for the Anti-Saloon League. What an irony that was. What a collection of magnificent ball players. Lord, make them humble, make them grateful, make them tolerant. That includes my third baseman, John Leonard. John Leonard Martin. You might remember him as the wild horse of the Osage, or as his teammates called him, Pepper Martin. You might remember my left fielder, Joseph Medwick. Why anyone would call him Ducky, I'll never know. I called him Joseph. For that matter, you must remember my Brooklyn Dodger shortstop, Harold, still playing the last time I looked. Harold who, you wonder? Harold Reese, of course. Pee-wee, I suppose, to you. I can still close my eyes and see him. I can see him during that historic 1947 season when I was running the Dodgers. Particularly early season game against the Boston Braves. I can see Harold Reese walking all the way over to first base as the catcalls came raining down on our first baseman, the racial slurs raining down on him. And Reese walked over to him and put his arm right around his shoulder. Who was that first baseman? Jack Roosevelt Robinson. That's who. I don't know if Jack is a Christian name, but Roosevelt certainly is. You see, it used to be a good Republican name, and if it's a good Republican name, then I say it's a good Christian name. But I'm getting ahead of the story. I need for a few minutes to go back to Jerome. I can still close my eyes and see him. I can see him as a young pitcher, warming up, striding out to the mound, winding up and delivering the ball. And yes, I can see him as a young fellow, swaggering right into my office. Oh, he'd swagger right in, pick out his favorite chair, settle back into it, stretch out those long legs of his, reach them both up all at once, and plant them right on my desk. Of course, he'd opened his mouth before his feet hit the desk. That he never really shut. Branch, he would invariably begin. And just as invariably, I'd let him get away with it. I suppose for the sake of decorum, propriety, I should have insisted that he call me Mr. Rickey, or at least call me by my Christian name. What's that, you ask? Certainly it isn't Branch. No, it's Wesley. Wesley Branch Rickey.